Woe unto the pastors, saith the Lord. That's how Jeremiah begins chapter 23. You know, we need some bold leaders who will speak even to our leadership that is going on right now in our churches. Now, I understand what's happening because I've been a pastor for now nearly 20 years, and I've been in ministry in a high capacity for nearly 25. So I've seen what's taken place. You may be out of the loop. Maybe if you've not been paying attention, you don't understand what's going on. But what is happening is many of our pastors are not doing the work of the ministry God has called them to. It goes on in Jeremiah chapter 3 where Jeremiah actually says that God is going to gather a remnant of the flock, and God is going to raise up shepherds over them that shall feed them. And not give them cotton candy, not give them what they want, but give them what they need. And you know what we need is pastors who will talk about the tough issues, that will call to account believers to do their job, to do what Christians ought to do. You know, many times right now, if you mention street preaching, if you mention coming against abortion, if you mention protesting businesses that slander God, slander Christians, protest homosexuality and their agenda, if you mention that to many pastors, I've had many of them say, well, that's not my ministry. Then what are they in? What are they doing? Babysitting the devil's children? You see, they're just milking the goats. They're not feeding the sheep. And what they will tell you is that's not my ministry. But really, here's what's going to happen. I'll tell you right now. It's going to get worse and worse in society until these same guys who they get nervous, you know, when somebody takes a bullhorn on the street corner, when somebody boldly comes against perverts and perversion and these killing labs, they get nervous, you know, because it's uncouth, it's not acceptable, it's too much confrontation. And see, they're nervous. And what happens, and what's going to happen, these pastors eventually, they're going to cave in to the great falling away that's taking place today. They will be accepting homosexuals in their choir, in their pulpit, in their music ministry. They're going to go ahead and go with whatever society deems to be acceptable because they do not have the guts and the courage, the strength to oppose anything, to make any waves. They think they're making waves now when they come out with something a little edgy, when they're just impressing themselves. You know, their little sermon titles of junk in the trunk and things like this. They're actually being perverted to get the world to like their messages. They think that's being edgy. They think it's real edgy if somebody doesn't like something they preached, it doesn't line up with their theology or whatever. Maybe their theology's bad. Why don't they go out and take on the wicked world and minister to the wicked world? We do both. We're to cast down those things which destroy our children. We're to protect our families and our cities and our nation. We're also to preach the gospel to the lost. Well, most of what they're doing today is simply giving junk food to a bunch of crybabies that want some food dropped in their mouth every Sunday, but they don't want to obey, using the energy of that food to do something with it, do something with what they've been given. And I'm telling you, God is going to judge. The Bible talks about it, talks about those who are teachers. They're going to be held to a greater, a stricter judgment. And God is going to do something great in these last days. We're going to see the great separation that's talked about there when you go into the final book of the Bible, Malachi, and you look of the Old Testament and you see where he says it's going to be a great separation of the wicked and the just. There's going to be a dividing line where we know the difference between those who are apostate and those who are living holy, those that are doing righteousness, those that are following the Lord. And the line's going to become less blurry and more distinct. And that's what's great about it. We're going to see some remnant people raised up. And it's about time. Woe to you shepherds.